Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. We meet again, Earthlings. Today's subject, oddly enough, is stalking. Harry, it would appear to me, literally married his stalker, or rather his mother's stalker. Now, we've all known about this for years, and Harry actually put in his own book Spare that he took Meghan to the island. I don't know if that's exactly where Princess Diana's grave is, or if she's in a mausoleum, or what it is, but he took her to the island and she asked him if she could have some alone time with Diana, which was shocking at the time, when everybody read the book and thought, what the hell, Harry? And this is a new level of manipulation. And the reason this is coming up is because Kinsey Schofield has got an exclusive scoop, which is allegedly, right? So I guess Kinsey wouldn't say it unless she was pretty sure. Allegedly, during the Platinum Jubilee, Meghan was doing yoga in the morning, and Princess Beatrice allegedly overheard Meghan telling Harry that she had been talking to Princess Diana during that yoga session, and that Princess Diana had given her a message to relay to Harry that Diana was happy that they had attended the Jubilee. Now, if this is true, and I can believe it because Harry has already referenced other times in his own book that this has happened, either Meghan herself is not well, or this is supreme manipulation. Supreme to use the grief of one human being who's desperate. He's clearly desperate to talk to his mum again. A lot of us, when a loved one dies, and I do see people kind of manipulated in this type of thing. I'm not dissing mediums, okay, and people who or tarot card readers or any of that. I'm not dissing any of that, because I do believe there's something in it, but I don't know what. Basically I believe it's a science that we don't yet understand. But that's not what this is. Harry is clearly extremely vulnerable, far more vulnerable than even I realised. And he was a sitting duck. And it must be especially hard for his brother to know this. If this latest rumour that allegedly Princess Beatrice overheard this and that she's told friends, I'm certain Beatrice's first port of call would have been William. I'm certain. And how must he feel if that is true? How must he have felt reading in the book Spare, or if he did read it, somebody must have told him. Meghan had this friend, I think she's called Ninaki Pretty, for 30 years, and the idea Meghan says on her engagement interview, I had no idea who Harry was. I wanted to hear it from him. But then her best friend very quickly came out and said no. She came on tour with me and my family. There's pictures of us outside Buckingham Palace. She had the Andrew Morton book on her shelf. She watched Diana's wedding. She watched the funeral. They raised money for charity in Diana's name. That's... okay, that's a fan. Let's just start there. That's a fan. That's quite normal for somebody to watch news events, show an interest in a famous person. I'm showing an interest in Meghan and Harry all the time. But I'm not trying to meet them or use that information, any information I can glean, to trick them into believing that I might be speaking with the late Princess Diana. This is a whole new level. We all know about the perfume. But for some reason, it's really sort of shocked me that this morning particularly. And I'll put a link in the article that I found, because I think it was Sky News Australia. At the end, there's a little clip of Saturday Night Live having fun at Meghan's expense, and it is hilarious. It is. That show doesn't always make me laugh, but this one was funny. But I mean, it's not really funny, is it? And I mean, because of our circumstances, and I know some people in the comments have said, you know, stop talking about it, stop talking about it. What's this got to do with Meghan and Harry? In fact, I had a particularly rude one from Helen, who said, oh, if you keep going this way, you're going to end up in front of the Crown. Am I? What? For talking about my stalker? I don't think so, Helen. And that they will dig up everything they can on me. No, Helen, everything on me is already out there. It's out there. After all the years of you following me, I would have thought you would realise by now. Everything. And then some bullshit. I've never made a secret of it. I've always been an open book. But there are other people who are like, you know, what's this got to do with Meghan and Harry? Well, you will see. Now, I'd also like to thank the Vintage Read, Shauna. What a lovely lady. A lady to the end. And you know, someone said she reminds them of Olivia Newton-John, and I know exactly what you mean. She is like Olivia Newton-John. So much fun. Wonderful lady. But when you're being interviewed, you're very conscious you're on someone else's time, someone else's channel, and there was something I wanted to correct that I'd said that wasn't... Explain it. There's a follower here, Diana T. Now, when I first started making videos and I explained and I asked a question, you know, why me? Why did it happen to me? Why did I end up Britain's Most Wanted? And it was Diana T who actually pointed it out, and she said, well, your cop was a fame seeker. And everything fell into place. And I can't thank Diana enough for that to this day. And it was after that that I remembered there was this other police officer who'd said that in 1994. And there were other officers. So I just wanted to clear that up, because when I watched the interview back with Shauna, I don't think I'd made that clear. But anyway, the behaviour of stalkers is very complicated, actually. And I watched another guy, another YouTuber, I forget his name now, it's quite a big YouTuber, and he's a psychiatrist, I think, and he was explaining the motivations, the reasons behind why people stalk. You know, he was doing a review of that baby reindeer. And I mean, to hear this about Meghan this morning, it's very interesting to listen to him. Now, the majority, I believe Meghan stalked Harry because he's famous and she wanted to be in the royal family. So it's not an illness. You know, there's a motivation. As I was saying the other day, there is an explanation for her motives. I do not believe, and I have never believed, that she loves Harry. Particularly Harry for Harry. I think if Harry had been a bus driver or worked in McDonald's, not a chance. Not a chance. I believe she sought him out because he was the available brother. I believe if William had been available, he would have been the target, but William's a completely different kettle of fish. She wouldn't have stood a chance. But whereas Harry, it appears to me that when Diana died, the two boys dealt with it in very different ways. William, I heard, liked racing bikes and frightened Charles, actually. You know, like, he didn't care if he lived or died. And he threw himself into training, the helicopter rescue, you know, just focus. That's the way it came across. Not to say that is how he dealt with it, but that's the way it comes across to me. And Harry, it would appear to me, got into drink and drugs, and just fell apart at the seams. And so he became vulnerable. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say, oh, no sympathy for Harry and all that. And he's done, yeah, he's arrogant little twat. He really is. Which kind of reminds me of the developments with our own trolls and stalkers. My son this morning said to me, because I was talking to someone on the phone, and he said, Mum, you've been saying the same thing for the last couple of years. And I said to him, well, do you think it's easy to catch a member of the British royal family trolling? I'm not suggesting for a moment that Harry and Meghan have been singling out YouTubers and trolling them, but we are all determined to get to the bottom of what's been going on. So yes, it's very relevant, and that's why I talk about it. I mean, I do talk about other things on this channel occasionally, my boat or, you know, other stuff, which I know some of you are interested in, some of you aren't. And I read all the comments, or as many as I can. I read probably about 80% of the comments. So I get a really good feel. feel we've all got a good relationship. But the one of the videos I did the other day, I think it was the Atalanta one, where I'd shown all the different YouTubers that this creature has attacked, and that it's clearly nothing to do with veterans. I had quite a few odd comments in there from people I've never heard of before, basically saying, shut up, stop talking. Don't point this out. Stop talking. Things are going to get worse. Helen, I don't know. Helen is someone who G'd me on. She's been my biggest critic. I don't believe she's a troll. She's just a critic, and she wants me to improve on my channel. I mean, I don't know. I've never met her. I've never spoken to her. So I do take on board what Helen says. And also, the other thing with the Vintage Read interview is I forgot to mention the late Ashli. Ashli was a pioneer. Ashli was the first, I think. And for those of you who don't know who Ashli is, Danger Zone, she was the first one to start picking up on something's not right with Megan. And she died a couple of years ago. She was a young, beautiful mum. She had a lovely channel. I'll put a link in the description, because some of you might like to go back and listen to some of the things that Ashli had to say. And I think about her a lot. And what happened with Ashli was someone said that the Sugars had been threatening her for a start. And this was back when Harry and Meghan were in the royal family still. And they had been sort of saying, we're going to find you and we're going to set fire to you. I saw the comments on social media and I didn't really take them seriously. And then one night, someone did. They set fire to, well, Ashli's house burst into flames. Okay, and her pet, one of her pets, was burned alive in the house. And that was really shocking. And she did a video saying, you know, oh, I didn't take these. She was so tearful. I mean, her pet, you know, Chewy. And she did a video saying she thought it was the Sugars. And then she very quickly did another video saying, no, it definitely wasn't. It was an electrical problem in the house. And the one she did about the electrical problem, I felt she was fearful. So, and I'm going back. I think that would have been, guys, remind me, 2019. And, you know, Harry wanting his IPP status back. And I'm thinking, well, does that give them access to intelligence of some sort? Because they had that when they were in the royal family. And Ashli, to me, appeared to live, you know, in a small community up in the mountains, you know, in the middle of nowhere. But these freaks of nature, these Sugars, they will track people down and find out where they live. In fact, I think there was a second fire. And I think her mother was next door. Shocking. And there's a lot of stuff like that going back to Dot. This was pre-Atalanta, but the Atalanta thing's been around a long time. And someone, I mean, can you imagine researching Princess Diana, wearing her perfume, getting a mate who works at Soho House to set up a date? It's all, I mean, it just sounds, it actually, you know, saying it out loud, it sounds far-fetched, doesn't it? It sounds outlandish, unrealistic. You know, YouTubers' houses set fire to. Ashli sadly died of cancer, I believe. But I mean, we've talked about this before. Can stress bring on, run you down so much that your immune defences are down and things start to go wrong? I don't know. I don't know what the nature of it was, but I felt it was very important. We should never forget Ashli. Let's put it that way. And there are more and more YouTubers now digging into some stuff, some very interesting stuff that you're going to see in the coming days and weeks. And more and more and more will unfold. And then those, I'm sure some people are genuine when they say, oh, I don't want to hear about this Atalanta. I don't want to hear about this. I just want to talk about Meghan and Harry. And it really frustrates all of us because we think, can you not see how this is all, it's a big journey. We're not living in Instagram neck-breaking speed. We're living in the real world. It takes police time to do things. And actually, the Duchess of Sussex has actually made more progress in 1 week than Sussex police have in 2 months. and there are other people working behind the scenes. People put stuff out on the internet and they forget that they put it out. Oh, that reminds me. Then one of these people who joins in with the troll, apparently, and I'm not going to give him a shout out because he doesn't deserve one. He's let's put it this way, an unsuccessful musician. He's got a YouTube channel, a small one. I listened to some of his music and it's very nice. And if he'd emailed me and said, please, can you give me a shout out? Can you play some? I would have done. But the way he approached me, and I vaguely remember this last year yeah, I think it was last year. No, I think it might have been the year before. Someone said to me, there's this musician and he wants to raise money for charity or something. And he's given you permission to use his music. And I thought, how am I going to raise money for charity with his music? What am I going to do with his music? I mean, you guys know my style. I don't play music on my channel. And Trevor Cult was also approached by third parties asking. And we just largely forgot about it. Because if you watch Trevor's videos, again, he doesn't use music. And apparently, and this guy does it in his real name. You know, I think he worked for the BBC at one point. He trolls us in his own name. And I've concluded from reading his community posts that it's basically because we forgot to give him a shout out. And I dare say some compulsive liar, who apparently knows him, probably said something like, oh, Fiona and Trevor didn't give you a shout out because they think your music's shit. You know, probably just made something up like that, wound the guy up till the guy is joining in with the trolls. And no, I'm not going to give him a shout out. Because, as I say, he doesn't deserve one. I do think his music's nice. And if he just emailed me politely and said, can you help me out? You guys know, I would have done. But not now. And all the more, I mean, he's a struggling musician and he wants to get a job in the industry. And, well, I dread to think what any future employer would think if they looked at his Twitter and who he's joining in with and the things he's saying. Someone emailed me and said, you know, he's a broken person. I don't know what his backstory is and I don't know how he's broken, but then that brought me back to this psychologist. I'll try and find him and I'll put a link in the description to that as well. And it was really interesting because he said he'd spoken to something like a security company that deals with stalkers and problem people for Bill Gates and, you know, big famous people like that. And this security people, they explained that what they do when they've got a problem person, a person of interest, shall we say, is they find out exactly who they are and they contact their family. They do not contact the person. And they say to the family, this relative of yours, this loved one of yours, is being a bit of a nuisance and we just wanted to find out if they're okay and if they need any help and what the issues are. And this security company told this psychiatrist that's 90% of their work is dealing with mental health issues of people who are damaged, who have all different motivations for stalking people in the public eye. It is a fascinating subject. And I mean, just as an afternote, any of these sugars who come on here and tell me what I can and can't put up on my channel, cover your ears, guys. Fuck off, sugars. I'll talk about what I fucking well like on my channel. No matter how inconvenient it is, no matter which roads it takes, whether it is possibly going to lead back to a member of the British royal family. And once we've got everything, believe me, Prince William will be getting to hear about it, but you guys will hear about it first here. So lots to think and talk about. Maybe I should have done a live, because it is an interesting subject. And it's quite surprising when you find someone who's been stalking and harassing you and you find out who they are and that they're unmasked and their motivations. And it's quite a disarming feeling, because when you don't know, then it's the boogeyman, isn't it? And ooh, who could this be? But when you do know, you start to put the pieces together and then think, right, this is a human being who's got problems. And then you begin to understand it, I suppose. At least I never married any of my stalkers, Harry, if you're watching. You fucking wanker. Thank you very much for listening, everybody.